This is the Krillcast live podcast called
Printed.
Impressed. Why do we have to go in order? Just say the whole thing. Like, I don't understand.
because I'm a funny
We're like
person.
a boy
that's why.
band. We have to
In sync.
All right, well,
Synchronized title
Rumble's
drop.
having issues, so give me 1 second. I was wondering if I was going to have to reset it up every time. All right, turn that one off. Remove that one. Try that one.
Cue elevator.
See if that one works.
exactly.
Okay, looks like Rumble might be working. Let's find out.
Okay. Possibly working. That's an optimistic take compared to possibly not working.
Nope, I don't think it is. I don't believe it is working at all.
Well, we'll just have to post it there later, Chris.
No. I just have to add it. Hold on, give me a second. Yeah. So it's I have to add Rumble every time we do it apparently, which is
Okay.
really annoying.
Apologies to the guests who are now hearing
Yes.
this randomness for the first minute
That's
and
okay.
probably 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be fine. I can always delete that if I want to.
Not for people who are already here.
not for the live show.
That's okay. All right, let's see if it works this time. Okay. Save changes. All right, let's see if that works now.
Let's redo the intro then, so you can
All right.
actually cut it.
Just a second. I want to make sure it's running, and as soon as we know it's running, then we'll call.
I don't
it
think
good.
you know what a second is.
I miscalculated. I should have said 2 minutes, everybody. The first 2 minutes. I apologize.
Okay, it is live. Apparently, it is live. All right. This is the Krillcast live podcast called Printed Impressed. I'm stealing your thunder this time because Will doesn't care.
Yes.
I am Chris.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Will.
And if you're tuning in to Rumble, this is the first time you've heard that intro. But if you're anywhere else, I apologize because we were trying to figure out whether Rumble would be set up ahead of time or if I'd have to reset it up every single time. Turns out the latter is the case. You have to reset up Rumble every time you want to stream. How stupid is that? Rumble, you are not as easy to use as YouTube and everything else. But we will continue to use that for now. What else are we on? We're on YouTube, and apparently I clicked Odyssey today, so we're live on Odyssey. I didn't even realize. I thought I clicked Twitter. I clicked Odyssey. Oh well, it's all good. All right. Well,
I mean, there is some allusions to Greek myth in the story, so
Yeah,
that
so-
works with the Odyssey. Yeah.
So I just want to point out though, if you would like to know about the upcoming Printed and Pressed Book Club member book order. I don't
Did you
know.
just have
what
a stroke?
This has
What?
all the this has all the upcoming reads. The next one in 2 weeks from now will be Unrestricted Warfare because China, and then after that we will have looks like The Horse and His Boy, and then after that Apocalypse Never. And then after that, C.S. Lewis again with Prince Caspian. And then I have not picked out the book that goes in between the next two C.S. Lewis books. But if you can see a pattern here, it's a shorter, quicker read followed by a more in-depth but about the same amount of pages read. So more of an adult book versus
The
a kid
true pattern here is adult book and then whatever Chris picked out, which is always going to be a C.S. Lewis book.
book. Watch out, I'm going to run out eventually. Then we'll switch to J.R.R. Tolkien. Anyways,
Exactly.
Those aren't small. I guess unless you did all of his other stories.
today, just a reminder, we're talking about the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Which, of course, the wardrobe is the most important because you need a coat if it's going to be winter outside. And we all know winter is coming.
And this is one of a couple characters that was featured in the last book we read.
Right.
Yeah, the wardrobe. It was a tree. 'Twas a tree at
was.
one point.
'Twas a tree.
And then it got cut down with the magic rings having influenced it. So
Mm-hmm.
And the character. Did you already talk about the professor?
well,
Not
the
yet.
professor's in here too. But
Yep.
Well, no,
Where-
not the professor, not Uncle Andrew, Professor Magician, whatever you want to call
well,
him.
okay. Yeah.
It's Diggory.
Diggory.
It's Diggory. That's right. Oh,
And he has a much bigger part in this book than he does in the movie.
Yes.
If anybody's watching on Odyssey, they're gonna think we're talking about YouTube competitors because the stream is set up with the wrong title.
Oh, very nice.
What the heck?
What? Who watches on Odyssey anyway, Chris?
Oh man, I don't even know. I'll have to
Chris
fix that
Chris
later.
does. He's gonna be confused when he goes back.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to fix this later. This is insane.
So, how do you guys
that's
want to
funny.
start this? Do we want to kind of do a synopsis of the book, or
We should
Sure.
definitely. Well, first off, obviously there's serious Christian allegory going on in this book.
Like, is that
especially
the first thing
latter
you're
half.
starting with?
There's more than that, Chris.
But
Honestly,
but-
you could
but-
read this book and not see that at all.
yeah, you could.
Not really.
Yeah, you
Yes.
could.
How could you read this book and not see that
Until
at all?
you get to Aslan at the table, you can't. You don't have to see it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But that's it,
specifically.
man.
Because
That's
Chris,
literally
there's
it.
there's talking animals, there's naiads, there's nymphs, there's a freaking
Yeah.
Pan, which is
Fawn,
the devil
yeah.
in Christianity.
Well, I mean, it's also just a faun in general. Pan is just the god of fawns. So.
Yeah.
Well, the
Sorry.
word pan is just means all. Literally, that's all it means.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
it has nothing to do with the dude that's named Pan, the actual goat god that rapes people in bushes. That's why I made that joke.
I mean, okay.
Wow, we're starting
Well,
out demonetized.
yes.
Well,
I
here we
just
go.
want to point out, though, that similarly to The Magician's Nephew, C.S. Lewis front runs this with a ton of messages to children to be cautious of strangers.
Yeah, don't
Especially
trust.
those that they meet who want to lure them away with candy or snacks
Great
or
point.
treats.
It's
like,
bad candy.
well, I'm also tea for Lucy. I like.
Oh, true,
there's-
yeah.
There's a so hey, he's before his time. He's warning little girls not to drink drinks from strangers. So,
Mhm.
I mean, C.S. Lewis puts a lot in there about how kids should be more cautious.
Yep.
Especially about strangers. But then he also
Yeah.
puts in there aspects of redemption. Like, okay, for example, Thomas, he's over there, and you're able to stop. You don't have to go. There's no such thing as a point of no return, right? Like,
Mhm.
he's able to redeem himself and stop and not do what is wrong.
Yep.
So I view that as like Lewis is trying to tell kids, like, hey, don't listen to those other kids who are like, hey, you can't turn back now. We've already
Mhm.
gone so far. So it's one of those types of
You're
messages.
never too far to be redeemed.
right.
That's like it's a very consistent theme in C.S. Lewis's books.
But
Like,
also,
for example, in some other books, he's had some characters that were too far gone as a character. But it seems like he always leaves the door open. Like, hey, this guy could be redeemed if he would allow himself
for the
to
witch.
be redeemed.
except for the witch.
Honestly, though, like when Aslan starts singing in The Magician's Nephew, if she would have just went the other way with it, I think there was an opening there that she did not take.
I think
I don't.
she's
Well,
not
no,
redeemable
she was,
because she chooses not to be.
Exactly. It's not because
Yeah.
she can't be. It's because she chose not to be.
well, okay, but that's because she literally has gone past the point of no
Yeah.
return where everything she heard of him was too good for her to hear. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what we saw in Magician's Nephew. So, no, but it also comes with the message too, right? That even though Mr. Thomas had bad intentions for Lucy, he redeems himself, comes clean, and then he's like her best friend.
Yep.
Right? So that's another element to the redemption narrative that he's trying to teach kids in this, that even after all of that, if you come clean and you do the right thing, you right there, it's like nothing bad ever happened kind of deal.
Yeah.
right? It's
Oh,
forgiven.
you got to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like telling kids to come clean when they do something wrong.
hmm
It's a very valuable lesson.
And I think if you're a parent reading this to your child, then you should really try to hit on those points because it's so subtle in some ways that as a child you're probably not going to consciously pick up on that.
Well, the first half of the entire book, all the way through with the beavers, right?
Mm-hmm.
That whole part is about lessons. You've barely had the dessert treat that is the fantasy story in Narnia at that point. It's
Yep.
all moral lessons.
Whoa.
My cat.
Oh, it looked like you got tacked. So
Yeah,
like,
my
holy
cat
He
crap!
just like fell over.
My cat
like,
just took my camera out. But no, it's like there's
he
all of
collapsed
this-
suddenly.
class. No, but he puts all of these messages in the front end, right? And he's trying to, you know, teach it while the kid is attentive. He's teasing the elements of Narnia, the fascinating fantasy story, while he's giving those messages. And then when he expects the kid to be too tired, he just goes full on. This is Narnia.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
Right.
I've read the book. So I vastly prefer the first half of the book, and I think the second half is kind of rushed. Like he's just like, okay, you're falling asleep now, kid. Here's the rest of the story, so you know how it
Yeah,
ends.
that's probably what the editor was telling him.
Right. So
I
What
mean, you know,
about-
Tolkien wasn't telling him that because Tolkien's books are like, you know, I love them, but they're very slow.
oh yeah.
The
Yes.
Fellowship goes for a long time.
What did you guys think of Edmund? I think like when he first goes to Narnia and then backstabs Lucy the way he does, isn't he kind of a Saul character going to Chris's favorite thing where he's like biblical with it? He's almost like Saul where he's persecuting her and then he eventually becomes like in the good at the end.
I just assumed it was a
I-
representation of Judas, but when Judas can actually get.
Is it Judas though? Because
redeemed.
Judas doesn't get redeemed.
Well,
so,
he
so
might.
here's the thing.
We don't
C.S.
know what
Lewis likes
happens.
to redeem. C.S. Lewis likes to redeem irredeemable characters in his books. For example, or rather, like fix the mistakes that occurred in the Bible. So, for example, like in what is it, the second book of the Space Trilogy, Paralandra, he fixes Genesis, or in like the first book of the Magician's Nephew, he fixes Genesis by having Eve not and Adam also not eat the apple.
See, but is he really Judas? I mean, he's kind of always working for the wrong side. He's persecuting her throughout, tormenting Lucy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because he's constantly persecuting her and his first allegiance was to the witch, he was never aligned with Aslan. So he's not really a Judas character. And then at the end, when they're describing him as an adult, he is like Edmund the Just and everything. Like he's super all about justice and being very level-headed type of character. So
The lesson
comes
is
off
don't
like-
eat Turkish delights.
well, there's that too. But that when you look at his character overall, it kind of comes off more Saul than.
I guess I can give you that one. Man, now I'm blanking. Doesn't Saul come up with a really, or like meets a really grisly end? Doesn't like he kills himself or something? Doesn't he?
Well, okay, this is a children's book still. Come on. Shucks. I mean, he's still one of the most important, writers in the New Testament.
Oh my gosh, this Sir Snug, stop sending whatever emoji is because it's broken in our chat. No, see, look, this is what it looks like when I click on it.
Yeah.
Face, whatever that is, tongue out. Like that's not. That means nothing.
I mean, it does say something. I don't know
Fair
why-
enough.
why
I
it
don't know what
says
that
that.
word means. Anyways, long story short, the plot of the movie is essentially two parts, right? There's the pre all the kids in Narnia, there's the post all the kids in Narnia, and like you said, it feels kind of rushed in the second half.
You're talking about
So-
the book still. Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
In the movie, it's like there's not even. It's one movie. It's all Narnia. The
For the most
getting to
part.
Narnia is like a short intro, but the real story, the book, it's like 8 chapters outside of Narnia,
Yes.
followed by 9 chapters in Narnia. Well,
Yes.
8.5. The 9th chapter is kind of a go between.
I mean, you
But-
mean like the 8 chapters were like going back and forth because
Well, I mean,
They
there's
get there
the,
pretty
there's
quick.
there's the short visits between,
Yeah.
you get the Edmund and Lucy visit, you get the Lucy on her own visit, but the bulk of that part is the pre-Narnia because they're not really all in Narnia yet. They're not consistently in Narnia. That's not the focus. The
Well,
focus
all
is
of
that the
them have
wardrobe
not
leads
made it
somewhere
yet.
else.
All of them have not made it yet.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not all there.
Mm-hmm.
Edmund hasn't been captured by the witch. There's no statues. She's not Medusa yet. Anyways, I do find it interesting that
is that your
C.S.
cat that
Lewis-
keeps going in and out?
Yes, my
that
cat
C.S.
wants to be in
Lewis
the video.
chose to spend so much time outside of the fairy tale. And there's a reason for that, I feel like.
That's
Well,
because
for
he's
one,
trying to tell moral messages, Chris?
For one, when anybody tells you a story that seems outlandish or out of this world, your first thought is not to believe them, right? I mean, that's the general consensus, I would say, for most people. If I told you that I saw a magical lion like that acted like a Jesus figure, you would look at me like I was an insane person.
It's the same way I look at you anyway, Chris.
Chris, that goes into the moral messaging though about how trust a person's character. Go off.
Right. So that's what the
professor.
professor's lesson in the first half of the book is
Using logic, yeah. Even when you come
using
to a
logic,
conclusion that is out of this world.
Well, my favorite part is he goes, there's three options here. Either Lucy's lying, which he said she doesn't do. She's little, she's truthful, and she's pretty much, she's a paragon. She's the good person. Or she's crazy, but she hasn't exhibited any signs of being a crazy person yet. He's like, to be determined on that one. Or she's telling the truth. And the crazy and telling the truth could go together. If she's crazy, she could be telling the truth about being crazy. But anyways,
hey, it's a children's story. Don't overcomplicate it.
Right. Anyways,
Hey.
but he logically eliminates the first one. She's not lying, so she's either crazy or she's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And the likelihood is that she's telling the truth in some
and
way, shape, or form.
I think it's important too to realize that there is a little bit of context that's kind of lost because he doesn't want, which I actually enjoy that they put it in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is the why did I get my name changed, Chris? I hate the fact that they do skip the World War II aspect, because that's the entire reason the kids are being moved into the countryside to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there is reason for her to potentially be what would you describe that as best? I mean, she could be very emotionally traumatized at this point.
Yeah, PTSD.
Right?
I mean, they didn't have it yet. It was called shell shock. But
yeah, so I mean, she could have technically been making stories up, potentially. So it's kind of hard to really fault Lewis for not wanting that to be part of the focus, but it's clearly in there.
Oh my God.
change it. Look at his name real quick.
At the very least, I have not gone that inappropriate with the names, you jackass.
But
I'm
yeah,
gonna pop a snug in the chat.
Papa Snug.
Let me hear you say my name. What are you, Walter White?
But yeah, that I think you said you didn't like that in the movie, Chris, but I like the extra
I do.
context because it makes someone have reason to doubt the emotional state of Lucy.
The only way you get that context during the book that's going on is the fact that C.S. Lewis wrote this at the tail end of World War II, from what I understand.
No. If you know history, you know why the kids
yeah,
got
but there's
relocated.
nothing that points to a year in the book. Nothing. Show me a spot where it points to a year.
I'm pretty sure that if you can infer it from what is happening, the kids are being relocated. All parents should know this.
Yeah, whatever you say.
I mean, it's a British book, man. This is a very
Yeah, this is
very
what was happening at the time. So yeah,
yeah.
it would be a contemporary context that people would understand.
The vast majority of grandparents or parents of kids would have 100% experience to this.
Yes.
You sure about that?
Yes, it's a thing that's basically woven into the fabric of British DNA.
Yeah, I saw that. I wasn't going to highlight it.
I had to.
So,
anyways,
did you guys notice with the food aspect of The Witch, though, about how he writes Edmund's behavior? It's very like German Stasi or Soviet gulagi, in the sense of the secret police are trying, like, going after
I think you're
kids.
digging too far into
No,
this at this
no,
point.
actually, no, really though. He's talking about how he's
Oh my
lured with food. She pretends to be his friend. She distracts him and convinces him into just talking away, giving away information to the enemy. It's very much like how kids were unknowingly ratting out their parents for anything that they heard at home to their teachers or to whoever the police officer was. it's very much that thing, and that's how Mr. Thomas gets caught.
Mm-hmm.
It's very secret police-esque. It's not. It's very dictatorial.
Oh yeah, when Edmund says that Lucy talked to a fawn, I was like, oh no.
Yeah,
Even
so
though I knew it was happening.
I'm just saying, it's like it's. Yeah, you think I'm reaching, but at the same time, it's a moral lesson to kids to be like, hey,
Maybe you shouldn't
Don't-
trust somebody
yeah,
just because they give you
don't
food.
tell secrets or so many details about your family to strangers.
Stranger
even if you think
danger.
they're like good and in a position of trust. Like, don't do it, right? So you say I'm reaching. I don't think I'm reaching.
I thought the most interesting part about the food, though, was as soon as you throw him in the cell, he stops. He's like disenchanted on how the food tastes. It's like the whole idea of the food being good was all a visual trick, and that the trick had worn off on him when he was in the castle and they're handing him the bread, and the bread was disgusting and the drink was disgusting.
Or he just
Even
finally
though-
realizes
I
what
mean,
he's done.
I think it was just a thing that lures him there, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think the trick was more of a visual trick, a mind trick, than it was truly good food.
I don't understand. I think
Yeah,
that's kind of
I mean, it was
implied with
magic.
the
It was told to be magic.
The magic,
to draw
I'm saying
him back.
you can tell the magic wore off when he stopped seeing when he starts seeing the wickedness of the witch's ways. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I
I think
mean-
he was slightly allured and then also tricked in the. Like, I would be willing to bet you if Edmund had gone in with the idea that the witch was bad, the magic would not have worked to trick him into the hot chocolate and the.
Oh yeah, because he would have been like, no,
He
no, thank you.
he never would have hung out with her.
No.
Like, he would have, been more cautious. But I think eating the food in general is enough to put you under a spell. It's just like one of those, Venus flytraps of sorts.
Yeah.
You're enchanted by the smell. You're enchanted by the taste, and then you're trapped. Okay,
Mhm.
like you're now shocked out of it because it no longer needs to allure you. It no longer needs to enchant.
I knew
you.
Will was going to do that. Will's gotten a donation before on this podcast for his beard.
True story. That's happened.
The other thing is you have this parallel story where Lucy goes in, meets somebody she's never met before, has a similar but not the same experience where instead of being kidnapped, tricked, whatever you want to call it, Edmund did.
I mean,
it
she's
happened
still
to him.
kidnapped technically.
She got kidnapped, but she had a better outcome than Edmund because although she did the same dumb thing that he did, trusted the first person she met in Narnia, she was able to overcome it and rub her positivity and her positive attitude and outlook and her charm rubbed off on the other person, and they eventually decided.
I think if
that-
Tumnus had met Edmund first, he would have totally turned him over.
Oh yeah,
exactly. that's what I'm
Anyone
saying.
would have. He
Prick,
sucks.
That's why.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's kind of a brilliant parallel story going on at the
Yeah.
same time.
he's doing it for he really likes the messaging of don't trust strangers. C.S.
He
Lewis
does.
has like a major thing about like you children, be cautious. Be cautious of strangers, please. Stranger danger is a real thing. And then he does both methods, right, of outcome to kind of show also the redemption thing for Mr. Thomas versus
Mhm.
the witch, and then also show that, you might get lucky. That doesn't mean that strangers are good either, right? Like
Right.
you could have either outcome occur. So that's why you need to be, cautious and responsible. I just going
Mr.
back though,
Tumnus is the epitome of good people doing bad things.
well, he's coerced technically.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
That's what I'm
doing
saying.
good-
He's the
he's doing
epitome of
bad
good people
things.
doing bad things. No, I didn't say why. I don't
No,
know.
but I'm saying he's doing bad things for survival, right? And that's another. I guess I didn't think of it before, but that's another message for it, right?
Thank you,
That-
Sir Snug, for the 99-cent donation for Will's beard.
That's another message, though, right, Chris?
It is, yeah.
It's
Good
where-
people doing bad things for
Survival.
survival or other motivations.
and then realizing though that they don't have to do the bad thing.
Right.
Right, that's at some point you have to stand up and not do the bad thing just because
Mhm.
the crowd or the powers that be make you. So there's a lot there. I think this is a valuable book even for the parents who read it to
Well,
their
yeah,
kid.
I'm looking forward to reading these books with my kids.
Mhm.
Here's another thing that I've noticed, and I'm curious what your comments are on it. I just remembered it. It was one of the few notes I took was, did you notice in the title of the book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that they're introduced in reverse order of the title order? The wardrobe is introduced first, the witch is introduced second, the lion is introduced last.
Doesn't sound as good when it's the wardrobe, the
Yeah.
witch, and the lion.
I'm just saying, like, it is interesting that they went backwards.
I mean, it's alphabetical.
no, it's
isn't
not.
it?
No, wardrobe would be before witch. Dude, A is before I. W-A before W-I. I know what. Come
Yes.
on.
Okay, I
Jeez.
misspelled
Oh
it for
my
a second. Even though
gosh.
it's in front of my face. I was just thinking. I mean, he picks, actual people versus an
Jeez.
inanimate object.
Wow.
I
That's
had
sad.
a bad moment, man. I had a bad
Oh
moment.
man.
I was thinking word.
So you think it's just a sound thing? Like it's just to sound better? Will?
Yes.
I thought it was more because although they're introduced in reverse order, it's order of importance. The wardrobe really does not have as much importance once they're inside. And the witch, she's the constant threat. But the lion, that's the main thing I think he wanted to convey in the story.
I kind of view it as he picked the main powers and then he picked the location. That's how I read it. The lion, the witch, and the wardrobe. They're in the wardrobe. So that comes last.
I will make sure that once YouTube takes their cut, that Will gets the 69 cents left.
Wait a minute.
I
How you gonna dole that out there, Chris?
Venmo. You have Venmo there, Will?
I do.
So, since you brought up the importance of the message of the lion, I love how he describes Aslan as good but not safe.
Oh my gosh. Will, you have somebody obsessed with your beard today.
I know.
Dude,
Well,
I don't
He
even
didn't
want-
respond to calling him Big Papa, so now he's moved on
I
to
am
me.
not going to respond. I dignify that with a response.
Hey, Chris, did you hear what I said?
Oh, you think that's why? No, I missed it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Nice.
Anxious. I said that I loved how he nuanced Aslan as good but not safe.
Yes.
Explain.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Well, at the very end,
He eats Lucy.
You don't
I
remember
wasn't
that,
sure
Will?
if that was a true
he does
thing.
not eat Lucy.
I guess, what do you
Eats
mean?
Lucy? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? He eats Lucy. Oh my gosh, Will.
That would have been a shocking ending, and we would definitely have to dissect what C.S. Lewis meant by that moment.
He has a lot of interesting takes, though. He also, C.S. Lewis believes in Lilith,
Oh yeah,
the
that was
first wife of Adam, and then the
I was
giant.
like, huh. Something that's been completely, even by his time, dismissed as it ever being a possibility.
There's the beaver being able to see in their eyes if they ate the witch's food.
Hey,
It's like
so
mental
Snug,
illness, man.
there
I just
is
wanna point that out.
there is a poll for you on there, and it's got Will at 100% so far.
Did you vote?
I have not voted. No.
Oh.
You? Will might have voted.
Will's gonna
He might have
win.
noticed.
I
I
haven't
don't-
seen it. Is
You
it
haven't
just in
seen
the
the?
chat?
Yeah, it's in
No.
the chat.
Oh, I'm totally voting for myself.
The
Oh my!
Oh.
Will's got 67% of the vote
Aslan,
right now.
that's cheating.
did you? Oh, you put Aslan. I mean, he
Oh,
can't
man.
compete with that man,
Why not?
cause it's almost sacrilegious.
I mean, Liam Neeson is a
Jesus.
clean cut man. Yeah, okay, so here's my question for you guys. When you're reading Aslan in the book, do you read him with Liam Neeson's accent?
Well, I do
that-
now, not the first
Yeah,
time I read.
sadly,
I do
Yeah.
not. I didn't even think about that.
I mean, I kind of read it that way a little bit because it's hard not to.
Mm-hmm.
after
Yeah.
seeing the movie the first time.
Well, I forgot up until Aslan comes on the screen in the movie, I had forgotten that Liam Neeson was even in it, and so in my brain I'm like waiting and waiting for Aslan to come on screen. And all of a sudden he comes on screen and he goes, "I've got a very special set of skills," and I'm like, "No, this is not what."
Hey man, it was not bad when it came out. Don't
I
even,
just was like, I was so shocked. I was like, wait a
Taken
second,
wasn't
Liam
even a
Neeson?
thing yet, man.
Mm-mm.
I know. I was joking about that part.
I will say the lion CGI in that film is so much better
Dude,
than the Lion
CGI
King.
is so good.
Oh yeah, it is. That's a fact.
This- I can't help but say that Disney really screwed up when they didn't try to make a Narnia section to their Animal Kingdom park.
Mhm.
Like that is a gross failing by them. I can't stress that.
How the heck is Andrew winning the beard vote?
I don't know, man. I didn't vote for myself.
You're at 50%.
I don't know why. Maybe because mine's the most controlled. Okay,
Maybe because people want to mess with Will and I. Maybe that's why.
probably.
Just, yeah,
do
zero.
you see that humble him just be like, my beard's better than that? My gosh, Chris. Dude, just accept you'll lose to Will in a 1v1 on this.
That ain't gonna happen. Anyways, so as far, what does your mom's beard look like? Oh my gosh. What in the world?
We're highlighting that one.
I don't know who this person is, but
Damn.
wow.
That's
My mom
good.
does not deserve that level of
Hey, do
disrespect.
you guys find it funny that Christmas still existed? But it made
It's
sense
so
when we
weird.
discussed it.
No,
because-
it makes sense because the two
It makes
people
sense.
that are in charge of Narnia at the beginning are English people.
Well, okay. It
And so
only-
maybe
You
they would
know
bring the
that
tr-
reading this.
No,
But they-
okay. When
but
this
the
first
Magician's
came
Nephew
out,
exists.
though, but Magician's Nephew didn't exist at first,
Yeah.
which is why
I know. Which is why he
why
wrote it to
it's weird.
explain all of this.
Yes,
Like
It's
he
the
would not
only
have like
reason it's
if there weren't
explained
so
is-
many plot holes in Narnia, he would never have written The Magician's Nephew. But there are so many
Right.
plot holes. They do call him Father Christmas though, not Santa Claus. Just want to point that out there.
right.
It's the same title.
Not
But
really.
It's still odd when you first read this. Like, if you didn't know Magician's Nephew, you'd be like, "Why the hell? Why is Santa in here?" There's no.
Oh, but he's played by the same actor that played G.R. Mormont in Game of
Mhm.
Thrones.
The,
Did you know that?
Well, I know it now.
Well, yes. Yeah, he.
I didn't know it at the time.
He's stuck in. Yeah, I know. At the time, I didn't know because Game of Thrones didn't exist.
Well, yeah, Game of Thrones didn't exist yet, but as I rewatched it, I was like, "Holy crap! Like, what the
I mean,
heck?"
he's in a lot of things, man.
hmm
He isn't he in Braveheart as well?
Oh, I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He might be.
There's a lot, like the actors from Braveheart made it into a lot of things. I just want to point that out. So,
Interesting.
there, Edmund is forgiven when he's rescued. That's another important thing. He's just forgiven. All's
Mhm.
forgiven, right? Oh, at the end, we find out that Narnia's libertarian. They say that they, passed just laws for those who want to live and let live. So Narnia is libertarian. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
It's a libertarian kingdom with a king. The
Okay, so
oxymoron
the end. I
calls
did
it.
like the ending of Aslan in the movie and the book, where Lucia is noticed that Aslan's leaving. Mr. Tumnus comes up, and they have like a weird, like in the movie. There's this weird moment where Lucy and Mr. Tumnus look at each other like they're about to kiss, and I was like, no, this can't happen. But then
And
they
you see his
talk
little
about,
tail.
And I'm just
You're,
like,
you're forgetting the
no.
parody that exists on the internet by the first.
oh god, I hope you're wrong. I
Oh,
don't want
it
to know about this.
exists.
So
Don't even.
going back to
pretend.
this book after reading, I voted for Will. After reading The Magician's Nephew, I realized like all the people must have died out in that book because they talk
Well,
about
yeah,
an
they
entire
had to
line.
have.
What?
All of the people died.
No,
out.
no, no. All the people.
Oh.
No, they're not Narnia. The kids are in Archenland and the other.
No, the islands are controlled by the queen. It's in her title.
No, I
The
don't
Lone-
think
The
so.
Lone Islands or whatever. Yeah.
But the thing is,
Only
they would
islands.
have had people living in Narnia. I mean, who would have replaced the king and queen in Narnia? So like that entire lineage is gone.
They're not though. They're not. Archaland is still there, man.
The thing is, they must be because everyone's like, "Are you a son of Adam? Are you a daughter of Eve?" They don't know what they are.
Because Narnia got closed off to everybody else. That's the thing. Like when you read the book, right? Like at the end, they're talking about all the other kingdoms that want to marry Susan and Lucy. At the very end,
Fair enough.
everybody wants to marry Susan and Lucy.
I saw that. I wasn't going to highlight it.
Yeah, any joke that heckles you, I'm gonna highlight, Chris.
Okay,
Fair
for the
enough.
people who only listening,
No, they don't need to know this.
highlight a comment from Sir Snug that said, "You are right, Chris. I'm sorry. That was mean. Your mom must hurt enough knowing you look like Seth Rogen."
That's
It
it.
is
Canceling the show.
like-
It's all over.
So, just had to provide context, Chris. Okay.
So somehow we have 17 votes on this poll, but I have yet to see 17 live viewers.
You know, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Well,
Will,
how many
those
accounts do
other
you have,
kingdoms,
Will?
those other kingdoms do exist.
Just not Narnia. I guess you'd think that there'd be at least some people living in Narnia, like they'd make like little fiefdoms within the kingdom or something.
What do you mean?
Like the lineage of the king, queen, the cabbie, and his wife. Do you think that they would have at least some children that weren't destined to become princes that would have the
Well,
lineage?
exist in Narnia, but she
Yeah.
has to kill all of the sons and daughters of Adam because of the prophecies.
Okay, so there you go. They're all dead.
So
I guess
no,
we're
she
back.
killed all, but they still also controlled Archaland.
Okay, so there are still some. Just
So
not in Narnia.
yeah, their lineage that was located there still exists because if you'll get the context in the next book, well, because
Okay.
you find out
I'm not
that
there
the
yet.
character, who the lineage of the main character in The Horse and His Boy is. Okay, there's extra context.
So here's an interesting point.
Are visiting other parts of the world. So yes.
I like what Sir Snug says that if you were to go by the God of the Christian Bible, God would strike down everyone in Narnia for worshiping false idols, and that is an interesting point because C.S. Lewis kind of made this a parallel Christian themed allegory. It's not like direct one for one in every way, shape, and form.
They got to Jeebus.
The Jeepus.
Yeah, they even said that he's the son of the Sky Father or something.
No, he's the son of the
Guy across the wall.
no, the Emperor across the
beyond
water.
wall. Yeah.
There you go.
beyond the- yeah.
I got him canceled. Is our YouTube stream down?
Maybe.
I hope not. Okay, that'd be hilarious.
No, you said it. You replied what it was. You read it. You read
Why,
what
'cause
he wrote, which maybe he's saying you'll get it taken down. I don't know.
Because of the false idol comment, like that's legit. That's like a literal phrasing from the Bible. Like that's facts. Okay,
Can't talk about the Bible,
You
man.
know-
What's wrong with you?
we do get demonetized every time we talk about C.S. Lewis.
No one says that. No one said that the cabbie stopped worshiping God.
That is a fair point, but he doesn't.
But at the
say
same
it.
time, you have just him in another form there. So if they're worshiping Aslan, then it's
I
the same
mean-
thing.
Yeah, Aslan and his father would theoretically be the same God. So
Call me Pop. No, I ain't gonna call you Big Pop.
That's-
You're so close.
that's really what it is, though, right? I mean, it's the same. They prove that later on in the book.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is a direct correlation between the Christian god of the realm that we live in and the Narnia god of the Narnia realm.
He
Yeah,
also
I
would
agree.
not be able to just take people from, or he wouldn't be able to rapture people basically from Earth to Narnia if he was not the same God,
Fair enough.
right? So
At least
theoretically, that's enough
theoretically
demonstration.
in the Narnia Chronicles.
Now,
Chronicle
the
of Narnia.
bigger question is about them with the nymphs and all of
I
that.
think it's just mythical beasts. He just threw in a bunch of them.
Just saying.
for fantasy, bro.
Yeah.
fantasy.
Well, I mean, it's Greek myth. I mean,
is,
they
it
have Pan, there are the fauns, they have the naiads, they have the sea goddesses.
Centaurs, Minotaurs.
He's
Hey,
trying to convert the. No, I'm just kidding.
dwarves. The
Yeah, well,
dwarves
the,
are
the Minotaur is terrifying and eats people. So it's just interesting when you
I
see
actually
it.
really like the Narnia Minotaurs when the way they did the CGI for them,
Oh,
though,
it was
for the
cool.
movie. They looked so much cooler.
Hmm. Well, they
So,
should have been eating everybody.
well, you know, they're just way cooler as like a yak in
Yeah.
mammal form,
Yeah, fair.
just yoked. In a
I
different
did like
way.
the centaurs.
Oh yeah,
Those are pretty cool, and the
Yeah.
griffins.
The
But
CGI was great.
oh yeah. The CGI
So-
is top notch. It's before you get to that like uncanny valley concept that all modern CGI is, where everything seems kind of fake. I hate it, man. I hate it.
Mhm.
I hate CGI now.
Yes.
Sir
Nothing-
Snug must be quite a
nothing-
ways behind on this podcast because I said that a long time ago about canceling the show.
Dude, I just want to point out that Marvel movies drive me insane for their CGI. I can't stand it.
They're pretty bad.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just can't stand it.
So
Everything seems fake as fake. Everything they're wearing seems fake.
Well, because it is.
I know. It's obnoxious. The second the clothes became fake, I became extremely upset with,
Yeah.
modern cinema. All right? Like, it's sucky. Just pay someone to make a good outfit.
did you enjoy reading this more than The Magician's Nephew?
No.
I would say I did because some things happened.
Honestly, okay, I enjoyed it more up until the Beavers. After the Beavers, I don't enjoy it as much because it just seems very rushed. To
Not
me.
if you watch the movie, then you get 2 hours of the beavers.
I'm just saying, like, okay, all the way up through the Beavers explaining who Aslan is, everything about why they need to flee, like that, all the way through there, that portion of the book is very well written, very well paced to me. And then it like I described earlier in the episode, it just seems like, okay, the kid is falling asleep now. I have to finish the story. That's
Yeah.
what it comes off as to me.
Hmm.
I would disagree with that because I don't think you read this with your child in one night. If you did,
Obviously,
they would clearly
but-
fall asleep.
But you have to admit it's rushed. The remainder of it is like very fast paced.
Well, I mean a little bit. I'll give you a little bit. There is a actual. I found this
The
online.
battle takes
Stop.
like,
Let me
2 pages.
finish this thought. There is an actual like picture book version of Narnia. I think just specifically Lion.
That's the one he read.
with little pop ups.
Yeah.
They do have something like that. I think the Harry Potter books have one too, and I'm like, this is actually a way you could introduce the Chronicles of Narnia to your kid even earlier than 7, which is what the recommendation is online. Where would you rank this? Because I personally think, from a fantasy perspective, a 7-year-old could probably grasp some of the concepts, but as far as gaining some of the greater themes, I think an older kid would do better with this. Where do you guys see this book at? What age group are you
I mean,
looking at?
I think you could read it to your kid at 5.
I've got a
Read
5-year-old.
it
I
to
don't
your
think
kid
so.
at 5.
I don't think so. I
Fine,
think you got to be a little bit
7.
older.
You're definitely reading it to your kid at those younger ages.
Yeah,
When
like
they're-
4 or
When
5.
they're like 12, I think they can read it on their own. Maybe gather more from it because they read it on their own. But before 12, I think it's a read to your kid kind of book.
You think that the earliest age they would be able to read it themselves is 12?
Dude.
I would definitely back up on that, but that's just me.
No,
I think-
but
I
I'm
think
saying
10
and
maybe?
actually gather more from it.
Nah,
I
I think you could read it at 10.
Maybe. Looking back
It's
at it,
hard
though,
because I think, like I said
ever
before, I think you should read this
appreciated-
twice, where you read as a kid and then you read as an adult.
Yeah, because looking back at it, I don't think I ever appreciated the front half of the book as much.
Well, yeah, because Narnia is the exciting part for a kid reading this.
Yeah, but that's what okay. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is, you're asking what age. I'm saying maybe at 12, you might appreciate a little bit of the earlier parts because you're starting to get
No,
into
you
that.
won't.
You might.
Not at 12. I
You
think you have to be
might,
I think you have to be an adult reading it to really. I don't think a non
Well, okay.
unless you're like really into reading.
I'm
Most
saying
kids
it's
aren't
more
gonna catch.
relatable. I'm saying it's more relatable because by the time they're 12, that's when kids start to be a little bit shittier to each other in school. So there's more of like I'm saying they might relate more to the Edmund and Lucy story arc.
I do wish that
Because
C.S. Lewis had
that's what I'm
amended the
saying.
book to make the Professor Diggory specifically instead of having us all guess at it.
Well,
I mean, there's
have,
not at no point does
it didn't matter until the magician's nephew existed.
Yeah.
So
And then
if you
he straight up
read-
says it's Diggory in
yeah,
that
if
book.
you read the magician's nephew, then you know who he is. Like I don't see a problem with
I
it.
understand, but still.
But what I'm saying is you get my point though, right? About kids being slightly shittier to each other once they're in that 12.
Yeah. I mean, I
range.
think kids
Like-
are always shitty, but
They are, but you're getting into middle school at that age, right? Like the 10-year-old is still elementary school.
mhm.
So they're slightly nicer. Everybody's still friends.
Serious answers, Sir Snug. What's your question, bro? It's gonna be something not serious, guaranteed. All right, keep going.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I think the first half resonates more once you hit the 12. Between 7 and they say 7 and 14, I'm splitting it in the middle. like and saying that once you hit 12, you can probably relate more. That's just my take on it.
The answer is yes. I did have multiple channels for music back in the day. It's been a long time since I've had like dedicated music channels.
He's your long lost fan, Chris.
Apparently, I don't know what's going
He
on. with
hunts
this.
you. He's finally found you. He's here to bring you back. they have a fan club
Yes.
for you, and they need you. You're their only hope, Sir Chris.
Mhm.
Oh god. Okay. Anyways,
Go on the long quest to find your old music.
Yeah,
YouTube
what-
fan.
some
fan
of
club.
it exists on YouTube. I don't know how to find
Well, you used to
it.
do all the like intros and outros too.
Yeah, all the intros and outros to the podcast used to be my old music. Papa wants to see Jesus. Maybe a different time
Oh,
we can share some.
So, Will, what do
information.
you think? What
About
do you
what?
think about the age?
This is tough. So like I was reading, my family is like really heavy reader, so I was reading
Same.
books really early. And I would say like this
Same.
to read by yourself, I would have said 7 to 9. To get all of the themes, you have to reread it. Like I don't
Yes.
think you're gonna get everything at that time.
So I can agree with you that you could read it by yourself, but I feel like at the younger age you gain more of that with a parent still,
Oh yeah, for sure.
because the parent reading it and like kind of knowing what to stress about messages might be a valuable aspect for
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
younger
like going through the Harry Potter series when I was younger, like my mom would read it and then I would read it at the same time.
right. Plus,
Yeah.
it's a good bonding experience. I think that. Oh my gosh, Jeez. Will, you're encouraging this.
You
man.
are encouraging the behavior.
I'm sorry.
These comments
it's
from Sir
cracking me up.
Snug. It's good.
All right, here you go. 8675309. Anyways, let's keep going.
You should have shared the number Logic uses in his music for the. Isn't that the suicide prevention one?
Who's Logic?
Logic the rapper, bro.
Who's Logic?
Yeah.
Terrible
okay.
joke. Terrible joke.
It's not a
So-
joke. I don't know who Logic is.
Fuck, fair enough, man. All right. Compare the book to the movie,
Oh man.
though. I think obviously the book's better.
Yeah,
As
oh yeah,
far
by
as
far.
the sto-
I mean, there are
everything.
some things I'll give credit to the directors for, but overall, it's just not as good.
I don't like how the movie doesn't do as well with the first half of the book. But I like that they added the World War II element to it to actually
same.
explain why they're there. So
I mean,
I'm
but
like
you
you,
have to
Chris,
watch
I
the-
appreciate it.
You gotta
Yeah,
watch
for
the
an- for an
cringeworthy
American
BBC
audience, it helps.
miniseries. You gotta watch the cringeworthy BBC miniseries version.
There's the fact though that they add some unnecessary elements in
I'm gonna
Narnia.
ban you from this
But
moderator.
I'm a huge fan.
Spin wheel.
I'm a huge fan of actually visually seeing the world of Narnia. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's just unquantifiable as far as a benefit to that movie that
Mhm.
everybody wants when they read the book.
Oh, so how did you guys feel about C.S. Lewis breaking the fourth dimension, the fourth wall in the book? Because he does it several
At
places.
what point?
He does it in all of his books.
He does it a lot in these books.
Well, which point are you talking about specifically?
There's multiple spots, but one of the most important ones. Oh God, don't even put that.
Telling
no,
the story
no.
though, like I don't have a problem with it.
I'm gonna put you in a timeout, Sir Snug. All right.
Oh,
Anyways, we're gonna end the poll on the beard thing since I won.
Who won?
All right, I did.
How did you win? You have
I don't
like
know.
how many YouTube accounts you're over there voting for yourself?
I had nothing to do with this. Okay. Anyways.
Chris voting for himself
Yeah, he's
12
been voting for
times.
himself, or he's paying people.
Yep.
Anyways, long story short, there's a couple spots where I didn't know. Oh my gosh, the Sir Snug comment put me in timeout. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
This is getting
Chris,
really weird.
Chris, you need to just pay attention to the thing you're trying to say that you just can't seem to say.
Oh, breaking
About
the fourth
breaking
wall
the
here.
fourth
Okay,
wall.
so
Yes,
breaking
stay
the
on
fourth
point.
wall.
Perfect.
I'm sorry. He breaks the fourth wall, specifically in the part about Aslan dying. Punish me. Oh my god.
Chris,
Sorry,
stop reading the Bible.
Aslan. Aslan, the part where he's getting mobbed by all the witches characters, and C.S. Lewis says he's describing like all the beings and people that are there, and he says, "I would tell you the rest, but then your parents wouldn't let you read this book," or something along
I mean,
those
there's
lines.
nothing. The thing is, C.S. Lewis manages to just slip those comments in as a narrator of the story.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
I
a
don't think that-
narrator. So it's always like that. The same thing in the Space Trilogy, the Magician's Nephew. Also, Tolkien does it in The Hobbit.
he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from the narrator's perspective. Like,
Yeah,
not
and
from.
I don't see anything wrong with it. It flows. It always flows perfectly well. It's not like he makes it where it's like breaking the flow of the story.
Yeah, I like it because it gives you an insight to what's going to happen or what is happening that is outside of the understanding of the characters. So it just gives the reader context, whereas the points of interest in the story, the characters, are not allowed to know, because if they did, it would ruin basically the entire story.
Mhm.
Here it is, right
Like
here.
he breaks the fourth wall with the Turkish delights. I keep bringing that up. He explains that Turkish delights, will cause Edmund to be constantly hungry, but Edmund doesn't know that, and
Right.
it's not from like the witch's mind or anything like that. That's breaking the fourth wall.
Well,
goes,
yeah, that's because he only ever goes off the kid's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
He says, and other creatures whom I won't describe, because if I did, the grown-ups would probably not let you read this book. And then he goes to describe some of them, like cruels and hags and incubuses and the wraiths, horrors, freets. I actually don't know what that is. Sprites, orkneys, woozes, and ettins, whatever those are. Those sound like made-up Narnia things.
Probably.
But-
Or they're British. Like, British fairy tale things. I don't know, man.
Slender Man was there. Anyways, so if you had to rate this book on a scale of 1 to 5, where would you put it?
You want to go first? Will?
Yeah, I'll go first. This time I give it a 5. I really enjoyed this book. I like it more than The Magician's Nephew. I think in the context of a children's novel, it was very entertaining, and it's not a slog to get through as some other classic children's books are.
I will give it a 4.
Oh, we reversed for the first time.
Yes, I will give it a 4. And my
Your
only
issue is the pacing.
My issue literally is that it's 2 different books in one. There's a noticeable difference in pacing after the Beavers. And every chapter feels like it comes with a time jump. That's how it felt to me. It's not that it's bad, it's just I want more in that portion. I felt like it was too shallow in Narnia. Maybe it's a perspective of someone who's watched the movie and felt like they did a good job expanding in Narnia, like just the visuals of the things you can't really see while reading it. But yeah, so it makes it where I kind of have a tainted aspect, like view of how the pacing is, and that's why I'll give it a 4, because you can't go lower than a 4 for Narnia. You just can't. It's just an excellent book, especially for the age bracket that it's supposed to be reading, especially when you factor in the messaging of the first half of the book, and even the second half has great messaging too. So I'll say this too. This is kind of why The Horse and His Boy is my favorite Narnia book, because every single thing is pure Narnia.
Because you always wanted a horse.
No, because everything, the whole story is in the world of Narnia. So all the morals, all moral messaging, all of the lessons learned, all of it is start to finish in Narnia. Well, not just Narnia, other realms of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not doing this time jump thing. There's no, it's just start to finish one story, and it flows very well. And some of the later ones have it too, but it's not as it's not, those aren't happy stories, right? Like The Horse and His Boy in my book is in my opinion is a happy story. Kind of like Narnia is a happy story. The other ones aren't happy, aren't necessarily happy. So that's my reason for liking that book so much. It kind of takes and corrects on what my major complaint is with this one.
So I'm trying to remember what I gave The Magician's Nephew, and back when we rated that one. Did I give it a 4 or 5, Andrew? I think I gave it a 4. You've got this spreadsheet probably.
You gave The Magician's Nephew a 4. We all gave The Magician's Nephew a 4.
Okay, that's what I thought. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's funny, like I don't remember really liking this one a lot. I know it's the most popular of the series in general. Like that's why they make the movie out of this one instead of the other ones. But I remember really enjoying like Voyage of the Dawn Treader and Prince Caspian quite a bit more than The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
They made movies out of those two.
I know that, but the first one was Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's always the first one they do.
Bad comparably. Like I can say, because we discussed it earlier too, I actually enjoyed the Narnia movie, even though it's different. Whereas I was frustrated by really frustrated by the changes to Prince Caspian and Don Treader.
Don Treader?
Treader. I always say that one weird. All right.
So I'm going to give The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe a 4 as well.
Okay.
I think because it is his first work in the Chronicles of Narnia, it gets a pass for some of the rush because it is meant to be it was meant to be a standalone book. In fact, all of them were.
Yeah.
But because it is the first one he did, and the rest of them wouldn't exist without it, I give it a 4 for that reason. Even though I have a lot of issues with some of the pacing. And I don't think it's his best work, that's for sure. I still think his best work is either Screwtape Letters or Perelandra. Those are my 2 favorite books by Mr. Clive Staples Lewis. But overall, it's a great book. Like I would happily read this to my kids. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't read this to a child as a parent. Unless, of course, you're completely against everything that Clive Staples Lewis stands for, then maybe, of course, you might not read this to your kids or whatever. But all right, and we will take one last question from Sir Snug, since apparently this is very important, whatever it is.
No.
Last thing that I will take from Sir Snug today, if they actually ask the question. Anyways, but yeah, I'll give it a 4, which gives us a average score of 4 across the board on this one.
No, it's slightly higher than 4.
Oh, you did a 5, didn't you?
I did a 5, yeah.
He did a 5.
You're right. How many YouTube accounts do I have?
4.3.
Oh, he got you to
I
talk
don't
about
know.
the poll.
There's actually quite a few I've lost track of overall.
Which means too many.
No. For example, I do. There's a
How many
channel.
votes did you get on your beard? That's
Yeah,
how many you
12.
had.
You said 12.
If I was trying to slant the poll, don't you think I would have just voted for myself across the board?
You see, you're smarter than that, Chris.
He knows how to stuff a ballot.
Anyways,
Box.
the Jesus Christ.
Oh, I kn-
What the heck?
oh my god.
Please don't read that.
I am not reading that.
So,
Zero chance I will read that. Anyways,
what did you guys think of, just real quick, with the movie? Because we
all right,
back
just
to
real
that.
quickly, the movie has terrible pacing at the start.
Same. Yeah.
It delves into some context. It does not delve into all the context. It does give the most important scene of the professor in the whole movie, though, which I did appreciate. And I don't know if it's an extended edition or if it's always been there, because I don't remember.
I didn't
watching
remember
back
it
in
the
day.
first time. That's the problem.
But in the middle of the first 8 chapters, the professor does this whole scene about Lucy where he's like, okay, well, why would you trust Edmund over Lucy? She's got the proven track record. She's got the honesty on her side. She's not crazy. They actually have that in the movie. And I'm like, wow, that is one of the most important scenes from the first half of the book. Yes, they do.
Wow,
And I don't know if it's
yeah.
extended.
I don't remember it. That's the thing. That's
It may be an
so-
extended. I might have watched an extended version. Let's be honest.
They have at the very end where he's like, "Tell me about your travels" or whatever.
Yes.
That's
See,
And
yeah,
they-
that's the only part that I actually remember.
But no, in the middle of the movie, at least the version that I watched,
Okay.
they do have the professor talking about how Lucy's honest and that they should trust her. So I thought that was important. I'm glad that was in the version I watched today. Or no, I watched it last night.
So it's not I have one complaint. It's not a huge one for the purpose of this movie. It's more problematic later. The age of the actors.
that didn't bother me.
Yeah.
The
But-
age of actors and actresses is almost always.
I'm telling you
off.
that it doesn't bother me for Narnia. It bothers me for Prince Caspian.
Okay, well, we can
and-
do that one when we actually read Prince
I'm
Caspian.
just saying they made it where it doesn't make any sense because Narnia and the real world are on completely different timelines.
Yeah.
So you don't have any ability for the ages to sync at all. Like at all properly. So it's the first Prince Caspian movie should have had a different actor than the second one. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
That's
Sounds
the
like
only
you
way-
should have watched the BBC miniseries version where they had actual cringe child actors doing all of it.
You know what? Lucy is a good actress, and she's
Oh yeah,
a
she
decent-
saved the
So-
movie in the beginning because her acting is the only good acting in the first part of the movie.
Well, and Mr. Thomas. He has
Well,
good
yeah,
acting,
but
too.
he's not one of the kids.
I know.
The only good child actor
You know,
in
the
the movie
professor's
was,
acting was top notch, Chris.
the only good child actor in the movie is Lucy.
I mean, isn't that why Edmund's a politician now, you said?
Yeah, he is. He is a politician. He's officially it says he's a political advisor for something. I don't remember what. So yes, he's a politician. He's a bureaucrat. Anyways, just to take this all in and finish it up with a nice clean bow. Overall, I think the book is good. It's good at what it does. The Aslan section is clearly an allegory to the Passion of the Christ, which is interesting. And then, aside from that, the whole it's technically like almost like revelations from the Bible at the end there, where he comes back and then they just overtake and kill the devil character, which is the witch.
It
Which
was
was
supposed to be
interesting to me.
standalone, so
Right, so it's
It
almost like
makes
you got
sense.
revelations in there too, right after the Passion's over. So it was really bizarre that, and then
So yeah, the Jewish
Growing out
people
of this
thought
book is
that was
hard.
going to happen here. That he needed to be in Narnia.
oh
It's-
my goodness,
the only thing to say about this book, really, truly, is it's a classic.
it is
It's a
standalone.
must-
You could read
it's
this
a
one and never
must-read.
read another one. You could read this
No,
one and never read another
You
one.
have to read all of them. Don't give me
Oh
that bull
God,
crap.
so stuck. Jesus.
So it's a classic, right, Chris? You should read it no matter what age bracket you're at. It's one of those books that I don't think anyone can possibly ignore it without having missed out. It doesn't matter what age bracket you are. You either missed out on it as a kid and should read it as an adult, or you're a kid and you should read it, and then probably read it again as an adult because of that.
Mhm.
So
I mean,
Even
that's
if your name is Nalza, the anti-Aslan.
Okay. On that note, we
Wow.
should end it.
Well, wait.
No,
wait,
remember
wait,
last time we
wait.
said we talked about the anti-Aslan being Nalsla or whatever.
Wait.
That was what we talked about last
Before
time.
we end it, remember everybody, go check out join our Goodreads book club
Mhm.
group, and also don't forget that the next book we're reviewing, in case you want to read along and tune in next time, is Unrestricted Warfare: China's Master Plan to Destroy the West, or
A big
America,
one.
whichever one it was.
This one.
Destroy
It's got,
America. That's right.
Probably a picture on the front here that will get the podcast demonetized.
Well, it
But,
has
you know.
a different photo now. If you actually go to Amazon to buy the book, it is basically 3 soldiers walking across with like what looks like a sun in the back, a sun
Okay.
flag or something.
Oh, the version I got has a lady from I think the World War I on the cover.
Oh yeah,
It's like I said, it's
it
got
has
like
a
4
couple
different
different
covers.
covers. Yeah, so this book is really interesting. It's well, I just recommend that you tune in. We'll have a lot to discuss. It's very appropriate for the time we're in now. So.
Okay.
So many accounts to make. Holy cow. All right. Join the book
Man.
club. Sir Snuggle will be here next time to snuggle up with all the rest of the viewers
Yes.
in their love of Will's beard. He's going to make a quilt out of Will's beard. Shavings. And as always, I am Chris.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Will.
And we are done with the 3rd episode of
Printed and pressed.
And a little bit depressed. We will see you on
Why didn't we just say the whole thing?
the next one. Bye, guys. Bye,
Goodness,
guys.
Chris.